The bird tier list. Tier zoo. How bad is it? Oh, hell no, bro. That was clean though. That was smooth as hell. Tier zoo.
Birds are one of the most popular playable classes in the game, with a huge number of successful builds and tons of cool strategies. However, some of these strategies have clearly been more successful.
I don't know the validity of this stat. You are a bird and you can't even fly. Bro, I don't know who chose this build. If I were choosing a bird, I would not lose the option to fly. That's just nerfing yourself for no flipping reason. Even if you get massive like ostriches and type things like that, you're not going to have that much of an advantage. You would just be a bigger target. Okay, I'm just okay.
Than others. So today we'll be going over the bird tier list to see which bird ranks highest. But before we get into looking at specific bird builds, let's do an overview of the basic attributes and special abilities the bird faction has access to, as well as a quick rundown
bro, the rat is stealing everything. Or the attack though.
History of the
double
bird
attack.
faction.
Triple attack. Oh my god. The pigeon is goated. I actually used to grow pigeons before. They always attack with their wings. Every single time. They don't use their beaks or their claws. They always attack with the wings. I don't know how hurtful that attack is. I don't think that's really smart. What if it broke? If your wings broke, your birds become pretty useless. They can't even fly away. They literally become an incapacitated prey.
So birds are one of the newer factions in the game, joining the game's roster during the latter part of the Mesozoic expansion.
Wait, they existed since dinosaurs and you're calling them the newest faction in the game? What? They were here for like millions of years at that point, and they're still new? God damn, bro.
They began as an offshoot of the dinosaur faction that was specifically adapted to arboreal gameplay, but when the devs dropped the Cenozoic balance patch, these small avians were the only dinosaurs not to be hit by the banhammer. Fast forward to today's meta and
they were weak enough, bro. They were weak enough. The dinosaurs were too OP, so they just banned every single large dinosaurs and only let the small ones survive.
Birds are one of the most successful factions in the game, owing this success to a handful of powerful, unique abilities, in addition to the obvious flying attribute. First of which is their beak. Now, beaks were not an entirely new ability for the reptile player base, but birds went far deeper into the beak skill tree than most dinosaurs ever had, with many bird players opting for extremely specialized beaks to give them an edge in specific scenarios.
What kind of beak is that, dog? Like, what kind of advantages does a beak like that give you? You can use it as a sword. Literally, it's like a spike. It's a spear. Ching, ching, ching.
However, even the basic beak offers plenty of advantages.
That's not a basic beak, bro. I'm pretty sure that's a woodcutter bird, right? I don't know what bird it is, but it used to peck on trees. And that's definitely not a basic beak by any means. It's supposed to drill holes through wood. How is that a basic beak? I don't understand.
While their lack of teeth does mean that they deal reduced damage with their bite attack, birds can be far more accurate with their pecking attacks, enabling them to hit.
I thought I was actually going to hit the head, bro. You're telling far more accurate, and that bird completely missed it. It wasn't even close. I thought it was actually going to like pop the snake's head, but this is what it did. Nothing.
Hit weak points or secure grabs on smaller targets, such as the thin hurt box of a snake. Beaks also offer moderate protection, potentially reducing headshot damage and nullifying imprecise.
Bro, what are these birds, bro? What kind of beak is that? It doesn't have pointy beak anymore. What is this paddle? Those beaks look like spoons. What the hell? They actually look like spoons. You can paddle with them. They look like a paddle too. Paddle, paddle, paddle. That's a corner. It's like a beautiful bird though. It looks really beautiful. Even got the majestic hair. Nice looking bird.
Precise counterattacks. Beaks also offer some of the best stab.
Okay, let's see if this guy actually got it. Last time, a bird like this actually striked something, it completely missed. This time, considering the fact that it says eliminated a catfish, so I am assuming that this time it actually got it.
Type damage in the game, which when used
bro, I almost thought this thing was going to drown.
Accurately can deal massive damage.
Okay, never mind. That fish was massive, bro. No wonder it was almost going to drown.
On crit. Beaks are also excellent tools for dealing with parasites. In fact, they're so good that oftentimes other less dexterous players will party up with bird support players in order to have a better matchup against parasites. Feathers are also a unique and powerful trait exclusive to birds that provides excellent cold protection without causing the user to become too over-encumbered to fly. Feathers also
Your feathers are kind of OP, I'm thinking about it. They can give you weather protection and they enable you to fly as well. Maybe we should have feathers too.
Offer pretty substantial defense against crush type attacks, which is especially important to birds because of their hollow bones trait. Hollow bones are another ability meant to synergize with the flying playstyle. Now, a common misconception is that bird bones are hollow in order to reduce equipment load, but
They're not. Oh my god, that's what I always been thinking. I always thought they have hollow bones because they're like they need to be as light as possible to able to fly, but that's not the case for some reason.
actually they're hollow in order to let bird players fill them with air, which grants them a massive boost to their maximum stamina.
How do you put air inside your bones? How do you do that though? How does air get into your bones? I'm not that smart. I don't know what the hell is going on, but
Without this, it'd be extremely tough for a bird to fly for any significant period of time. The trade-off, of course, is that a broken bone not only deals serious damage, but also potentially reduces the player's maximum stamina by a huge margin.
that bird looked unbothered though. The bird's looking completely unbothered. That thing did nothing to it.
So a bird player will need all of the blunt damage defense it can get. And speaking of blunt damage, the bird's lower bone density means the bird's own blunt force strikes, like wing attacks, also deal reduced damage.
Yeah, I don't know the validity of this attack. This is probably not doing any damage at all. Maybe you can like scare off crows, or it could be an intimidation tactic, but otherwise I don't think this attack has any kind of offensive capabilities.
The top tier bird builds are the ones that can best capitalize on the strengths of their class while mitigating
Yo, why are they moving like that? It's kind of funny though.
potential weaknesses.
Yo.
That about covers the basics, so let's get into the tier.
Yo, we learned the basics. Let's go. What tier are pigeons? Pigeons are actually one of my favorite birds. I know people don't hate pigeons. I mean, people hate pigeons, actually. A lot of people hate pigeons, but I kind of like them. I would say they are pretty good at tracking. And in the ancient times, they used to deliver messages. They're really good at tracking and knowing what location they are in. If you go to any big city, you probably would see a lot of pigeons out in the open. At least I see a lot of pigeons when I go outside. At least go to a big city. Majority of the time, there will be a lot of pigeons there. So they have good surviving capabilities. So I'm going to assume A tier. They're going to be A tier. I believe in the promise of pigeons, okay? Let's go.
At the bottom of the tier list, we have two flightless bird builds, both with essentially the same glaring weakness. These are the kiwi and kakapo.
Kiwi, and kakapo. This thing is not made for surviving, okay? I don't know what this thing is made for, but it is just not made for surviving. This looks like food. Literally looks like this is what a basic food looks like. It looks like chicken legs, actually. They look like chicken wings, bro. Look at this. They look like food to me. They don't even look like they have any kind of survival capabilities at all.
Kiwis are hilariously part of the same faction as ostriches, emus, and cassowaries. For some reason, they opted to give up the flight ability, but didn't use the extra available skill points to spec into gigantic.
That's actually kind of dumb, right? Like, if you lose the ability to fly, at least you can make yourself massive. But you chose to not able to fly and lose the ability to be massive. You just gave up on the best abilities that your faction has access to. Basically, you're just throwing at that point. This is trolling, bro. Kiwis are trolling. They're not even trying to win this game. They're trolling. They're literally trolling. Oh my god, what the frick?
Gigantism like the rest of their squad did. The result is a build that can literally only exist on island servers where there is no active mammal player base, aka New Zealand. The kakapo is a flightless version of the parrot, and although
Wait, so there's like no predators there? He said mammals. What about snakes? So snakes can hunt these things too, I would assume. Kakapus. They look like parrots though. These things look like parrots to me.
parrots are undoubtedly excellent bird builds, the flightless weakness is too glaring to ignore. Due to invasive species like rats and cats establishing a presence on island servers, both of these flightless bird builds are seeing major declines in their player base, and I would not be surprised if they all ended up switching mains. Flight is just too strong an ability to pass up. Which brings me to the next builds on my...
yeah, no wonder these things are they F tier? They should be F tier. This is a trash stat. They're literally trolling at this point.
tier list. So I see what these builds were going for. Being giant could potentially make up for the lack of flight, but in practice this didn't
Wait, they're not ostriches? They look like ostriches. There's a different species? Are they different species? Why is there a cheetah in there? Wait, are they from Africa? I thought ostriches from... What is going on?
Out. While these are technically the strongest birds in terms of base power and defensive stats, for their weight class they are woefully underpowered. They're one of the few megafauna builds that can be taken down by cheetahs when they should.
Bro, if you are taken down by a cheetah, you are cooked. Cheetahs are like the worst fucking worst things that ever exist on this planet. They are not qualified to survive anything, bro. I'm a massive cheetah hater in terms of their surviving capabilities. They only have one stat that is just moving fast. They cannot take down anything. They can't even bite for God's sake. The only thing they have is running fast. Otherwise, they're completely useless. I forgot
To be able to completely annihilate cheetahs with their powerful claws. Their huge weak point presents a lot of opportunity for counterattack too. So if they ever get too bold, they're setting themselves up for a tough loss. Lastly, the fact that they are forced to nest on the ground forces them.
Bro, that was a bitch hole. Look at that.
Lost.
look at this hole. That was a. If anybody did this to me, bro, just quit the game. Just quit the game. Get a new build. You are completely ostrich. Right? They are ostriches. Wait, why did I? Wait, never mind.
Lastly, the fact that they are forced to nest on the ground forces them into an even more vulnerable position than most birds, as ratite eggs are extremely valuable as loot. Objective defense is not an easy task even for high-tier builds, so for ostriches, emus, and cassowaries, this is a huge hurdle.
Yeah, defending your nest in the middle of like a flipping thing like that, like bro, there's no cover at all. There's like some bushes here, but that's it. Like, how are you supposed to defend this place? If any enemies are coming from all sides, you're completely good. Cooked. There's no cover here other than these small bushes which your enemies could actually use to sneak up. I don't understand. Okay, this stat is kind of garbage too. This is B tier? Is that B tier? Am I seeing this correctly? Wait, let me move my goddamn camera here. Is that B tier? God damn, bro. I don't think they deserve B tier.
So for ostriches, emus, and cassowaries, this is a huge hurdle. Next on the tier list, we have the hummingbird. This build spec purely into mobility and just about nothing else, and as a result, is the only bird build with full 360-degree movement, similar to a dragonfly.
They're smooth with it.
This combined with
they do actually move like dragonflies. They got good mobility, like sing.
With its extremely small size, enables the hummingbird to very quickly change direction mid-flight, allowing it to easily dodge attacks and fly around obstacles. More importantly, it allows the hummingbird to access nectar, which is an extremely valuable source of energy that's normally inaccessible to birds, since birds are usually too heavy to land on flowers and not agile enough to access nectar mid-flight. This all sounds great, but the hummingbird also has two
It does sound really great. Please don't have any major weaknesses.
very serious weaknesses. The first is pretty obvious. They have no combat prowess at all, and any attack they fail to dodge will send them right back to the character select screen.
God damn it. Yeah, I can see that. They definitely don't look like birds that's built for battle.
But in addition to that, the insane energy cost of their flight ability, combined with their total lack of fat storage, means hummingbirds will run out of stamina very quickly if they can't constantly find food.
God, bro, that would be so annoying though. You gotta constantly keep eating every single waking moment that you are alive. I thought you could be flying around freely like this with like swing, but you gotta constantly be eating with the little amount of time you have, and you can't even store food. You're cooked. This is more miserable than not able to fly, man. I'm just kidding though. Nah, this is way better than not able to fly like those kiwis. Dumbass birds.
Food. To me, this is a high-risk, high-reward strategy where the risk far outweighs the reward, so I have to place them in F tier.
They're all F tier? Damn, bro. I did not know ostriches were F tier too. God damn, like bro, like they have to be better than kiwis. Like even though the ostriches are being taken down by cheetahs, they have to be better than kiwis. Like kiwis are completely trash. I think this is the only thing that's like deserved to get F tier. Failure. Hummingbirds, I think they're like not too bad. They can survive. I've seen hummingbirds alive, thriving in their ecosystem before, but I haven't seen any kiwis running around. At least in the place where I live. This has to be a joke, bro. I'm pretty sure this like he's going for the A tier really fast right now. You know, like it's like maybe it's a S tier even. We're going to F to S tier really fast. That's why pigeons are here. There's no other reason for pigeons to be.
At the bottom of D tier, we have the pigeon. The pigeon build doesn't really have any critical flaws, but they're held back by mediocre stats. In particular, the pigeon is sorely lacking in any combat-focused stat, like power or defense.
Oh my
They do
god.
best in cities where they're excellent navigation, combat-focused stat.
You are a turtle, bro. What reason do you have to kill a pigeon? I don't think turtles even eat meat. But what reason? What did that pigeon even did to you? What reason did you have to like drown it? Oh my god.
Like power or defense. They do best in cities where their excellent navigation ability grants them an extra bit of safety by nesting among high-rises in loot-rich locations.
What kind of nest is that, bro? Whenever I mess up an experiment, I just think of a pigeon. But I'm just... Damn it. Come on, pigeon. Bro, what is this? Like, you could have laid it on a... Like, you don't even need to put the sticks there. Like, whoa.
But even in cities, pigeon players tend to be the main source of XP for higher tier predators. Plus, if you're just looking to play a bird build that's good at looting cities, there are better options available anyway.
Eagles are better than pigeons? Peacocks? Bro, why are all my favorite birds in the bottom tier? What is wrong, bro? At least they're not an F tier, you know? It could have been birds. They could have been kiwis, you know? They could have been kiwis, but they're not kiwis. At least that would give me some peace of mind. At least for now.
The Peacock build is another generally understated build, with high HP but little else to rely on. It does, however, have one of the highest intimidation proficiency bonuses in the game.
This is supposed to be intimidating to predators, bro.
Gaining a massive buff to all intimidation checks when its Eye Spot Feather ability is activated. As impressive as this ability is, the Peacock's actual attacks do very little damage, so any player able to resist being frightened will have a pretty easy win. The Peacock's Diamatic display also blocks vision behind itself, making a stealth approach by a third.
Boy, I escaped. I thought I was actually gonna get cooked, bro. I thought I was actually gonna get cooked. It noticed it. It noticed the tiger. Wait, aren't tigers supposed to be the apex ambush predators? If peacocks can escape a tiger, tails spread out, they still manage to escape. So I don't think they deserve to be in D tier, okay? They should at least be in C tier. I believe, like I 100% believe this.
Party attacker extremely easy. And while they can escape by flying, the feathers of a peacock are so heavy that getting airborne takes a bit longer than most birds, which can be the difference between dodging or dying when under attack. The Flamingo is a bit of an AFK class. Very minimal skill is actually required to pilot this build. They opted to spec into the filter feeding ability, meaning all they really need to do to gain experience and progress their character is pick a random spot in the lake bed and start digging around with their beak, scoring free wins against things like snails and shrimp. However, when faced with a challenge from any player anywhere near its size, this build totally falls apart. They rely on water.
Wait, come on, bro. You gotta show the things you're talking about. Anywhere near its size. This is not near its size. What is the size difference between these two? Like, this is a literal child. This is an adult beating up a child. Look at this. This is a literal child getting bullied by an adult.
From any player anywhere near its size, this build totally falls apart.
It's not anywhere near its size. It's a literal child.
They rely on water to impede the approach of predators in order to give them time to escape when attacked. However, this doesn't always work. Their pathetic defensive stats mean they go down in 1 or 2 hits, and their slow flight startup means that oftentimes players will have time to rush them down even when they're in the water.
Yo, that's so accurate. Why are they taking like 2 years to launch off the ground, bro? These things are not escaping. Even if they put water between them, they're still getting cooked.
This is an easy build to rack up a bunch of experience with, but also a very easy build to defeat if you know their weaknesses. The humble chicken, often compared to the T-Rex to exemplify how far the dinosaur faction has fallen. While I disagree with the implication, I don't disagree that chickens are indeed a low-tier build.
What implication do you disagree with? The dinosaurs fell down this low to the ground? They did, bro. They literally did.
While they aren't anywhere near as totally helpless as the kiwi or kakapo, they're still a barely average statted.
At least they're not kiwis, okay? At least they are not kiwis. Those fucking trashes. Even if you want to be a food source, you would pick chicken over a kiwi. Kiwis are completely useless. Even as a food source, they're useless. Even as a living species, they're useless. Their entire existence is useless.
Bird that
chickens, they have so much uses. To be honest, like every human's favorite bird. It gives you food. It gives you eggs. It exists. There's a lot of reasons why people should like chicken. But not kiwis. Kiwis are useless.
Lacks the ability to fly for any extended distance. They can certainly hold their own against most similarly sized opponents, but with poor escape options and no unique abilities, this build faces an uphill battle against most opponents.
My god,
Well, okay,
bro.
I shouldn't say no unique abilities, but to be honest, their fast
Because the
respawn
spawn
rate
rate.
kinda backfired on them due to humans using the factory farming strategy.
Okay, they kind of backfire on them. Never mind. Guess it's not a good start. Wait, it didn't backfire on them. They have a massive amount of numbers now. Imagine if an apocalypse comes up and every single chicken just get released. Just by the sheer amount of chickens out there in the world, probably they could evolve back into dinosaurs at that point because of how many chickens are out here.
Next
Vulture.
in C tier, we have the Vulture build, the tankiest
tier.
variant of the Raptor subclass. A good tank build needs to be able to accomplish two things.
To be honest, I thought Watchers would be a lot higher. Every single birds that I had hope for are getting completely grounded, completely get beaten up right now.
The first is area denial, which vultures do quite well. A few of them can easily lock down a carcass, one of the most contested points of interest you'll ever see on the map. They can do this because of their large size and acidic projectile.
Yeah, that's actually kind of true. Like every single time you see any kind of movies, cartoons, Watchers will be always around the dead bodies. Even in documentaries, they always be there, bro. Even lions, hyenas, tiger, every single predators just want to get that carcass, but vultures just hold the freaking ground. They hold their damn ground. They don't even give the carcasses to lions. They don't even give that up to lions, bro. I feel like vultures should be higher tier, B tier at least. I'm just saying they should be a little bit higher.
Attack. The other thing a tank must be good at is shrugging off hits, and this is where vultures fall short. Their thick feathers easily shield
They're not holding their grounds against lions no more. But when I saw them last time, they weren't this panicked. Okay?
them completely from smaller attacks. But because of their hollow bones, blunt fours can easily crush their defenses and take them down in only a hit or two. So while they can defend a carcass from hordes of smaller scavengers, they don't have much counterplay towards bigger, more aggressive brawlers.
The command post is now under hostile control.
See, they're more calm now. They are more calm now. This is what they usually do, bro. They don't like batter like last time. But last time was a lion. The first time it was a lion. They weren't that panicking in the documentaries I saw, okay?
The Woodpecker build spent the bulk of their
Picker, I don't
evolution
know why I said picker. It's woodpecker.
points optimizing and perfecting the peck attack, both in power and efficiency, with one goal in mind: to be able to hit insect players through cover. Burrowing is one of the safest, most effective ways insect players can avoid combat. But the Woodpecker absolutely demolishes this strategy. One of the main advantages of this strategy is that having a powerful beak that's highly effective at drilling through wood also just means
See, this is what you call basic wood at the start of the video. You can't call this the basic beak that every single bird has access to. This is a very highly specialized beak that is very, very specialized for one thing and one thing only. That is absolutely destroying every single tree
you've
out
got
there.
a super sharp beak that's highly effective as a general purpose weapon. One of the main disadvantages of this strategy is that pecking at wood gives the woodpecker's location away, alerting more powerful predators to its presence, while it's in the middle of pecking and is distracted. One particular woodpecker build, the toucan.
This is a woodpecker? I did not know this, bro. What the hell? God damn. How is a woodpecker though? I don't think this can actually drill through wood. Not a sharp beak. It's more like an angled beak. How is it able to actually pierce through wood?
Opted to spec
It doesn't
into
make
more
any
bulk
sense.
and an even more powerful beak, which, while less useful for attacking insects through the wood, is still extremely powerful for PvP. All in all, interesting strategy. By no means flawless, but definitely has some solid strengths.
Pretty interesting.
So I know I've been pretty hard on flightless birds up until now, so you might be surprised
Completely valid point, by the way. Every single flightless bird is completely trash, other than chickens. Chickens are pretty cool.
to see me rate penguins as upper mid tier rather than low tier. The difference is penguins actually
They can fly underwater, okay? It's same as flying. It doesn't matter if you can fly in the sky or underwater. There's a massive difference, but they can actually move. They can move through water quite pretty easily. So there's a reason for them to actually lose the ability to fly. My phone just got bamboozled.
swapped out their wings for an arguably equally viable alternative, flippers, which essentially allow them to fly through the water with incredible
Yeah,
agility.
that's what I said.
This gives them a
But they look
downright
so
broken
smooth.
matchup against fish. However, this strategy is pretty much only viable on servers where there are no land-based predators that penguins would still need to worry about. So if for whatever reason a few polar bears ever spawn in the Antarctic server, it's kind
Wait, they're not the Antarctic, sir? I thought polar bears in Polar bears were in every single cold place there ever was. But turns out that's not the
game
case.
over for that entire build. The predators they have to contend with in the water are even more dangerous, and while their agility does help them dodge attacks, ultimately it's still a totally one-sided matchup. Their strategy is pretty cool and actually fairly dominant due to limited competition, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the entire penguin player base collapse if the devs ever add new DLC in the form of an Antarctic land predator, or even if they just buff the land mobility of the leopard seal. Still, top of C tier is a respectable position for a flightless bird. At the bottom of B tier, we have the goose.
Yo, the goose, this should be higher, bro. Every single time I see a goose, when I walk through the streets, I completely avoid them. I'm not going anywhere right near these dumbasses, bro. They scare the shit out of me. This is the only bird that actually makes me scared.
I've got an entire video dedicated to the goose build, but in short, the goose has solid base stats, including above average hit points. However, its abysmal power stat leads it to rely heavily on intimidation to secure territory. This can be unbelievably effective at times, and
look at that, it's scaring away a gorilla. Even gorillas are scared of it. Nobody can even make fun of me for being scared of this thing. This thing is way too overconfident, bro. Where did this bird gain this much confidence from? I don't understand.
It's not uncommon to see top-tier predators flee and encounter.
Bro, I'm not even ashamed to. I'm not even ashamed to say I'm scared of this bird anymore. It literally scared away a tiger. It's a tiger. It's an actual tiger, bro. What the flip?
That they easily could have won. Still, the obvious flaw in this strategy is that if the goose's opponent resists being frightened, the goose will be wide open to a punishing counterattack. In addition,
oh my god, that goose is
the goose's weak spot is easily exploitable by intelligent players, so careless aggression tends to be the goose's.
Yo, I would not go again. After seeing what the elephant did to the ostrich, I would not go anywhere near that thing, okay?
Biggest strength and biggest weakness at the same time. All in all,
but the goose does not care.
Still a surprisingly effective strategy. At the same time. All in all, still a
What in the... This is aura, bro. This is a literal aura. This is like... This thing has aura at this point. It's like, what is this cow doing? Is it trying to make this goose look more impressive than it already is?
Effective.
It's not even attacking. It's just standing there, just like... looks like it's trying, but not trying at the same time.
The Heron build put a huge amount of evolution points into maxing out the puncture damage it can deal with its beak, and it did so to great success. Herons have one of the highest damage pecs of any bird, and frequently one-hit their targets, even those with scale armor like large fish and juvenile crocodiles. The effectiveness of their piercing attack is amplified by their long neck, which gives their attacks a deceptively long range, giving their strikes an almost cobra-like flash to them.
Oh, but this thing got aura too, though.
They have downright oppressive matchups against fish, amphibians, and all other small.
I was about to say that frog was about to get completely destroyed, but I guess I wasn't fast enough.
Aquatic builds. One vulnerability they do have is that their flight ability has a lot of startup, making it a bit less reliable as an escape option if they do happen to get ambushed.
They're more like flamingos too. I suppose if you have long legs as a bird, that's just... It has its own advantages and disadvantages at the same time.
Still, it's certainly not terrible. Another weakness is that their long neck presents a bit of a weak point.
I've seen this clip before, bro. This clip is this is actually kind of hilarious.
Making lunging forward with repeated pecking attacks a bit risky if you get too predictable about it. Good players will be able to punish careless lunges quite...
But that was clean though. That eagle was completely insane. I'm pretty sure eagles should be S tier. Like, these things are completely insane.
Quite hard.
Falcon.
In high B tier, we have the Falcon, a raptor build that opts to defeat its opponents using speed and superior maneuvering rather than actual power.
To be honest, if I wanted to be reborn as any kind of bird, falcons would be my top picks. Just because how fast they move. I like animals who move like really smoothly. Swing, 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 swing. They have such a good maneuverability. I like birds who does that.
Falcons actually have a below average power stat for a raptor, and don't deal particularly high damage in close combat. Their talons are pretty small compared to hawks, owls, and eagles, and so instead of slashing and stabbing with their claws, falcons actually punch with their feet to disorient or concuss their target. And
bro, that was crazy. It just charged into it and just completely killed that thing. Wait, don't they get damage too? Like, if they charged into something. But they attacked with the feet though. But I would assume it would still hurt.
Then finish the fight with their more powerful beak. In the right situation, This can deal absolutely massive damage, enough to one-shot a mid-sized target at full HP. The
That was like
drawback of
triple
this
the size of that thing. That was the triple the size of the Falcon and still got completely bamboozled.
strategy is that Falcons can only dish out high damage when they have the time to build up speed first.
Yeah.
This makes the Falcon a pretty poor defender for objective game modes, and means the Falcon can struggle to win fights if its first attack doesn't connect, as follow-up attacks will likely not have the same force built up as the first. Still, the burst damage potential of this build cannot be ignored, so it earns its spot in high B tier. This might seem like an odd inclusion to cap off B tier, but songbirds are a highly
Really, bro. Like, Falcons are better than these things. Come on.
efficient build for their size, and do deserve recognition on this tier list. This is a huge group, including finches, starlings, sparrows, wrens, and birds of paradise. And while some are flashier than others, they all have relatively similar stats, with extreme
They all look pretty cool, but these stats don't look that impressive. They got high mobility and like some good at intelligence and some stealth. Like, this is not good stats, bro. The Falcon completely bamboozles this thing.
high agility being their core stat. Unlike many of the builds lower on the tier list that have difficulty getting themselves airborne quickly, songbirds have extremely low startup on their flight move, allowing them to reposition themselves easily and quickly. This makes their approach very difficult to punish, making songbirds excellent at chipping away at defensive players, and makes them great at stealing loot from slower builds.
Yoink.
They're at defensive players, and makes them great at stealing.
Did it just steal the food from the pigeon's mouth? Bro, no wonder pigeons are low tier. This is completely unacceptable. How do you guys get bamboozled like this?
Loot from slower builds.
Yoink.
Their safety in numbers strategy can actually be somewhat intimidating and disorienting.
God damn, that looks like a simulation.
Too,
Literal
making
simulation.
it rather difficult to attack a party of songbirds mid-flight. While they certainly aren't invincible, having one of the lower HP stats among birds, they're an often overlooked
That dog just bitch slapped that bird.
but undoubtedly successful bird build.
One.
At the bottom of A tier we have the Swan. The Swan is essentially a goose that has the power stat to actually back up its attempts to intimidate. The wing attacks that most
The goose did not okay, the goose did deserve that much hate, bro. The goose did deserve that much hate. But the goose are fake it till you make it, but I suppose the swans are better. In terms of everything, actually, they are.
bird players use do very little damage and aren't very useful aside from pushing other players around. The Swan's wing attack can break bones and concuss foes. Because of this, Swans are one of the best builds at controlling important points of interest, as their hyper-aggressive playstyle can result in huge territory gains. Of course, they do have the same weaknesses as geese, so targeting the Swan's neck with an attack can defuse the threat. But this is a bit riskier of a play against
He does
a
not give
swan
a
than
shit.
against a goose.
He's too old for this nonsense. He's just too old for this gooses. These swans attempts to intimidate. He does not give a shit.
All around, sturdy defender, definitely A tier. Next in A tier we have the Owl, the Avian faction's premier stealth assassin build. It owes this reputation to its special ability, which allows it to fly completely silently. This makes the Owl's strikes very difficult to defend against, as players just about never see them coming. While not as stacked in the power department as their daytime counterparts, Owls do have quite solid base stats. While they aren't likely to one-shot high HP targets, they do have enough force behind their attacks to be able to defend themselves and their territory, even from powerful enemies. In addition to granting the Owl the Silent Flight perk, the Owl's thick, bushy feathers offer additional defense against attacks, enabling it to stand its ground in important objective defense scenarios. Interestingly, the Silent Flight perk did come at the cost of the waterproof ability that most bird feathers have, meaning that falling into the water or getting caught in a rainstorm can actually disable the Owl's flight ability.
That's a massive disadvantage, bro. That's a massive disadvantage. God damn. Like, water be everywhere, though. How are you going to survive as an owl? I thought owls were, like, really good up until now. They're like assassins. That sounded so cool to me. Until they got this major-ass weakness. Why does every single bird needs to have a weakness like this, bro? Every single cool bird needs to have a dumbass weakness like this. How am I supposed to pick one?
A pretty unique weakness, and certainly something that can be played around, but interesting nonetheless.
Hawks and
In the middle
eagles.
of A tier we have
Hawks and eagles are A tier. Is there no S tier bird in this game? Like, there's no S tier birds in this world or what? Like, I would I thought eagles would be S tier. At least that's what I thought, but it turns out that's not the case.
The eagles and hawks. Hawks and eagles follow the same basic strategy, both having tailored their builds to focus on dealing maximum damage with their talons. Hawks are the smaller variants of this group, and because of this they are far more agile. While not as powerful as eagles, their agility enables them to weave through cover better than most birds of prey. This makes them well suited for rushing down players both in open terrain and in dense, difficult to navigate terrain like forests. Eagles, in contrast, are much more powerful, but their larger size and wider wingspan prevents them from entering dense forests. Still, in open prairies and mountains, eagles can be incredibly effective, dealing absolutely brutal.
Yo, what kind of stat is that? You just dragged that goat, sheep, I don't know what animal that is, but that thing is sad, bro. This is a sad way to go. You just dragged your death and just like completely dropped, like boom, 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 boom. Your organs, your bones, your everything is just getting broken down like this, man. This is
damage
sad.
with their enormous dagger-like talons. Enough to take down players in higher weight classes without even requiring team strategies. These are without a doubt some of the strongest bird builds in the game for PvP, and have been for quite some time.
Then why are they not S tier? Well, he didn't give us reasons why they're not S tier. He just gave them so many abilities that said like they can take down a race that's larger than them, they can move like crazy, and they got strength for it. And where are the weakness that puts them at A tier? They have to have weaknesses to be at A tier, otherwise they'll be at S tier or something like that.
At the top of A tier, we have the grappler tank hybrid, the Pelican. The Pelican's main strength is its throat pouch. Grappling enemy players can be a highly effective takedown strategy, but birds struggle with this since they can't use their wings to grab, and since their beaks aren't always the most reliable grappling weapons, sometimes leading to targets escaping. The Pelican's grapple is, in contrast, almost totally inescapable, and works on targets much.
He just swallowed that pigeon, bro. Pigeons are getting destroyed. Why are they always getting destroyed? What happened to my pigeons, bro? Why are they always getting destroyed like this? Everything is just trying to swallow the pigeons. The turtles are trying to swallow it. Now this thing. Why does it have a mouth like this? What kind of pouch? This is a literal pouch. What?
Larger than you might think. While this attack style is most effective against fish, it's quite powerful against other bird, rodent, and amphibian players, although it does have its limitations. This, combined with the Pelican's overall bulk, makes it one of the most difficult birds to take down in single combat, and enables it to stand its ground against even top tiers like canines. So those of you who follow the channel for a while can probably guess what the top tier birds are going to be. If you can't, that's probably a good indication that you should be subscribed.
Okay.
Those of you wishing the devs could unban the Velociraptor build, look no further than the Secretary bird, as it has basically all the same awesome abilities and more. Hunting on foot and in pairs, they prove time and time again that striking from the sky is overrated. They can easily defeat other high-tier builds such as the Cobra and Mongoose with their high-damage kicks. Their stomp move has extremely high accuracy, allowing Secretary Bird players to score game-ending headshots with ease. And they do.
So this thing is called accuracy. Whatever the birds are really accurate with their beak attack, and the clip that he showed to show us a visual was not it, bro. The first thing he showed was not it. That had zero accuracy. This thing actually has accuracy.
Do all this without completely sacrificing their flight ability. If they ever find themselves outmatched, which only ever happens against builds in higher weight classes, they can still retreat to the sky or treetops. The fact that this strategy works in Africa, one of the most unforgiving servers of all time, is proof enough to me that this is the optimal raptor. These last two builds are
They look really good too. I like this bird.
about equally matched, both opting for the same specialization, intelligence. Parrots are an extremely unique build with several powerful abilities, not the least of which is their sonic shriek, which can drive away just about any player who invaded their territory, especially when employed by a coordinated team. In addition, due to their prehensile beak, parrots have the highest dexterity of any bird, putting them among the best users of the tool use ability. And with an extremely high lifespan, if there was any build that could replace human use ability. And with
Why do they live for so long? Short lifespan? Wait, rhinos have a short lifespan? They have a shorter lifespan than octopuses? How? Wait, probably because they're getting hunted. Maybe that's why. There is no other reason. Why would they live lesser than flies? High intelligent. They live less than flies? Less than flies, bro? This is ridiculous. Long lifespan, low intelligence. Yeah, turtles are completely cooked. They're not replacing us. But elephants and parrots? Damn, bro. We are the longest living species? I don't think so, but...
An extremely high lifespan. If there was any build that could replace humans if humans ever get their intelligence nerfed, I'd bet on the parrot. I made an entire video on parrots if you're interested, but when it comes to intelligence, there's one avian build that arguably outclasses them. Corvids, such as magpies, crows, and ravens, also opt for a high intelligence playstyle, but with a far more expansive social aspect to it. While plenty of bird builds use cooperative team strats, the best corvids operate using a network effect, where knowledge is shared with a huge amount of players over vast distances. This knowledge can include useful points of interest, or even blacklists of dangerous areas or players to avoid. But even individually, corvids have a lot going for them. With significantly higher stealth than parrots, corvids are much better at staying out of conflict. Their pointy beaks, while not as useful...
Bro, I did not realize corvids had this much going for them. God damn. I completely underestimate their capabilities now. I just realized.
For tool use, are a much better combat tool for dealing quick damage. It's also more useful for pressuring and poking opponents, or for provoking larger players into battle, so that they can reap the benefits of the aftermath. Corvids are one of the best larger players. It's also more useful for pressuring and poking opponents, or for provoking larger players into battle, so that they can reap the...
What kind of stat is this, bro? These things are completely devious. They got the devious capabilities to just break fights like this. I completely underestimated these things before. God damn.
Benefits of the aftermath. Corvids are one of the best builds at making use of human-made items, and quickly figure out ways of abusing the...
Okay, these things are actually smart. That was really, really smart. You don't do that by accident, right? You need to have some kind of intelligence to actually pull that off, okay?
System to score quick loot. All in all, corvids are basically what you'd get if you gave monkeys wings. Easily a top-tier build.
Monkeys.
So there you have it, the complete bird tier list.
Anyways, that was a great video. Very, very good. The bird tier list. But I would say the eagles, the pigeons should be placed a bit... Okay, I can't even defend the pigeons anymore, okay? I thought pigeons would be a lot higher than they were actually, what position they got here. The pigeons got completely nerfed here, okay? I think the peacocks and the flamingos. Flamingo's placement is kind of fair. I think penguins, yeah, that's kind of fair as well. Chickens. I wasn't expecting these three things to be S tier at all, bro. The corvids and the parrots, and I forgot this thing's name, but this thing is OP. These three things, like, they're like really good. But especially corvids, so these things that kind of popped off at the end. They got so much intelligence. It's crazy. Parrots, they're able to have that much dexterity and long lifespan. No wonder these things are the S tier. These two are like high tier just because of their high intelligence. It just goes to show you how OP intelligence is. I would say this tier list is kind of fair, even though I would put my goated pigeons at C tier opinion. It definitely deserves a C tier, okay? Anyways, that was a very, very nice video. Very, very informative. I learned a lot. Okay, here's it. Thank you very much.